call the September the 20th meeting together. Joel Keller will lead us in the prayer, and Rich First, Commissioner First, will lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we come together before you to ask a blessing on our meeting. Give us the wisdom to make the decisions that are good for our city. We ask a blessing on all of our citizens. We ask a special blessing on those of our first responders who are recovering from illnesses and injuries. We ask a blessing on all of our staff for the job that they do for our citizens. We ask a blessing on our first responders as they go about their business to keep us safe. Please keep them safe. And last but not least, Lord, we ask a blessing on our military. Wherever our men and women are in the world, keep them safe and bring them home to us. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Grogan?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Keller?
Here. All right. We have presentations and proclamations. This evening, we have a proclamation for a walk and bike to school. Whereas hundreds of children could be saved each year if communities take steps to make pedestrian safety a priority, and whereas a lack of physical activity plays a leading role in rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other health problems among children, and being able to walk or bicycle to school offers an opportunity to build activity into daily routine. And whereas driving students to school by private vehicle contributes to traffic congestion and air pollution. And whereas an important role for parents and caregivers is to teach children about pedestrian safety and become aware of the difficulties and dangers that children face on their trip to school each day, and the health and environmental risks related to physical inactivity and air pollution. And whereas community leaders and parents can determine the walkability of their community by using a walkability checklist. And whereas community members and leaders should make a plan to make immediate changes to enable children to safely walk and bicycle in our communities, and develop a list of suggestions for improvements that can be done over time. And whereas children, parents, and community leaders around the world are joining together to walk to school and evaluate walking and bicycling conditions in their communities. Now therefore, the City of Ocoee do hereby declare October the 5th, 2016 as International Walk to School Day in Ocoee, and urge everyone to consider the safety and health of children today and every day. Hereto, in witness thereof, I have set my hand, caused the seal of the City of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed the 20th day of September. Rusty Johnson, Mayor. Do we have anybody that's here from the school that wants this, or Recreation Department? How about Jeff? All right, comments from citizens and public. If it's an issue that's on the agenda, we will wait till it's agenda time. If it's not on the agenda, then we can talk about it ahead of time. And I have one. It's Mark Pestor, here to speak about, and Felipe Lopez. So would you come up to the podium? And you can introduce yourself and tell us what it's about. It's about baseball clinic.
Good evening. Mark Pester, resident of Ocoee, with Business First Impressions,
Give us your address.
3390 Fawnwood Drive, Ocoee. I'm with Felipe Lopez, who's a resident of Windermere. Had met a couple months back at a new resident meet and greet that we do in helping the new residents come into the area. We host at the Roper YMCA. Being such a long career in Major League Baseball, Felipe had shared his desire to do a baseball clinic, a free clinic for kids in the Ocoee and surrounding areas to come and learn baseball skills and learn how to not quit, how to keep trying, not quit in school, not quit in sports. So our request is on the 28th of October. We intend to hold a baseball clinic free of charge to all children within Ocoee and the surrounding areas, and we're asking if the council would be so kind as to waive the fee for the ball field.
I see this is out of Winter Garden.
I
Are they
have
doing one in Winter Garden also?
I have my office in Winter Garden.
Yeah, are they doing it also in Winter Garden?
No, sir.
Did
This
you
is-
ask them?
No, have not yet. We just started recently working with the city of Ocoee with our First Impressions community guides that we sent out to new residents and inviting them to the meet and greets. And so we would like to bring some more activities in the city of Ocoee as well.
All right, commissioners, anybody got any comments?
Question, if I may, Mayor?
Yeah.
So is this in conjunction with the Ocoee Little League that you're doing this, or?
It's not in conjunction with the Little League, no.
All right, anybody else? John?
What is First Impressions? What is the business? What is, or?
Our business is helping the new residents that move into the area to kind of get to know their area. So we publish community guides, realtor brochures. We host a new resident meet and greet at the Roper YMCA each month for residents of Ocoee,
Okay, I've
Winter
seen
Garden,
that.
Windermere, and Dr. Phillips. Help them get to know their area. We do different community events, which are free. This coming Saturday, we have the Youth Fitness Warriors event on East Crown Point, right on the edge of Winter Garden, Ocoee, which is where kids can come, kind of like a American Ninja Warrior type of a thing. And again, it's a free event to teach, inspire kids to not quit, get out and have fun with athletics.
And Felipe, what teams did you play for?
Got drafted with Toronto Blue Jays, St. Louis Cardinals, Milwaukee Brewers, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay, I'm a Red Sox fan, that's why.
I played for the Red Sox, real short though.
Thank you.
You have any?
I have a couple questions.
All right.
Have you been in contact with the Little League at all to be about coordinating with them?
At this time, no, we have not. We spoke just recently about doing this event, talked with Parks and Recreation, and they said that our next step would be to talk to the council.
Because I don't really want to step on their toes. They've been, I guess, in the community for so long that the fields are not, at this point, unless they're using them, concerned. The concern I have is your interaction with them before coming to us. Because I would like to know how they feel about you doing the free clinics, but I would think more of the coordinating with them to do the free clinics.
That is our intention, to reach out and communicate with them. From the timing of this meeting was a little short, so that's why we were here prior to talking, or before talking with them.
Well, I just have a few issues with that. Kind of, I feel as though coming to us before coming to them, because I would like to know their opinion of it. Because I'm sure they're I would assume they would like free clinics, but I would like to see the coordination with them.
I agree. That is our intention, yes.
Okay.
Now, this is planned for October 28th, correct?
Correct.
I know we have another meeting before then. Would it be wise to hold this off to our next meeting and then let them get together between now and then with the Little League?
Or you could make it contingent on an agreement with the Little League to participate.
Yeah, I think what would be best if you would get a hold of the president of the Little League and see if they if they have any problems with it, if they don't have problems with it. If they don't, you can get I think it's Gary still the,
I think Gary's still the
I don't know if Gary is or not, but whoever the president, just have a letter and then come back on October the 4th. And we're our next meeting. We're all for anything to help kids, but we need to work with them and make sure that's their thing too, so.
I appreciate that. It sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea.
Mayor, for interest of time, do you want to approve it pending Little League supporting what they want to do, and then we could do it on a staff level if we
Yeah.
come up with that letter?
You need a motion on it?
Motion would be great.
Huh?
That'd be great.
All right. That's the way to fee too.
I'll make the motion, and exactly what Rob just said.
Okay. She made that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Keller. No more comments? Let's vote. So just go to them and get the permission thing and bring it to Jeff, and that's all we need.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. All right. Any more comments from the audience that's not on the agenda? All right. Let's go to staff reports. And then
I have no announcements this evening, Mayor. I just wanted to welcome Melanie to her first official commission meeting as city clerk. She was appointed last week, and this is the first time she can call herself the city clerk and not the acting city clerk.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. Anything else, Rob?
No, sir.
All right. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Grogan,
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
Just like to remind everyone that tomorrow evening, which is the 21st, there's a 6 p.m. budget meeting. We'd love to see everyone here. It's the final public hearing to set the millage rate. So please come, voice your opinion.
All right. Commissioner Fershner.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Keller.
Nothing at this time?
All right. We'll move into the consent agenda. I don't have anything at this time.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion made by Commissioner Keller, seconded by Commissioner Wilson to approve the consent agenda. No more comments, let's vote. All right. We have no public hearings. We'll move to the second reading of ordinance, public hearings of Oak Trail Reserve Plan Unit Development, PUD, substantial amendment to the approved PUD land use plan.
Mayor, if I may, I will be abstaining from this. Pine Lock has my brother-in-law in that company, so as usual, I'll be abstaining from the vote on this one.
Okey-doke.
Excuse me, I think, do you have to announce that you're going to do that form? Is that necessary?
Yeah, I already filled out the form and
Wait a
all
minute, I
that.
think you have to announce it, don't you?
Oh, okay, well, in case I filled out the form, then
Okay.
that I have a
I didn't know if
conflict.
we have to announce it.
Mike Rumor.
Okay, for the record, Mike Rumor, I'm the city planner. The item before you is a substantial amendment to a PUD, Plan Unit Development, for the Oak Trail Reserve subdivision. You had the luxury of approving this PUD and the site plan and final site plan back in April. There was a builder involved. It had 126 lots. The location of the site is on Claricona Ocoee Road at the northeast terminus of Clark Road. It's directly east of the Arden Park subdivision. Oak Trail has a history, oh, I'm done speaking, my time ran out, but no. Has a history, it came in as a PUD for single-family homes. It was revised to detached single-family and townhomes, back to single-family homes, and then this plan that was in April, there was 126 lots, the access point on a future extension of Clark Road. The lots included 101 50-foot wide by 120, and then 25 40 by 110 rear-loaded product. This was the PUD approved earlier. As part of the original PUD plan, the development dedicated this tract of land to the city, right here. It dedicated right-of-way, and it is required to construct 2 lanes up to its property boundary, with then Arden Park later on constructing an additional 2 lanes. And there's a provision to construct, ask them to construct the full Clark Road. But we're not prepared at this time. We don't have all the right-of-way necessary. After the site plan approval, the home builder backed out. The developer kept the project and now has a new home builder with a new development concept. It's not much different. The access stays the same. The amenity package, which was located across from the entrance, is moved, enlarged. It provides a splash pad, play field. This project has the benefit of being adjacent to the West Orange Trail. It's in the Ocoee study area, so it requires 35% open space, whereas a normal project outside of the Ocoee only requires 20% of open space. All of that is maintained in this. So what is the difference from the PUD you approved in April to now? And that's this is sort of a rezoning. Look at it as a rezoning of itself. It's going to go 35 lots at 50 by 120, 83 lots at 40 by 120, and 16 lots at 40 by 110. And all the lots are front-loaded, no more rear-loaded. This is on 11.9 acres. The matrix here shows the different lot sizes. So you can see the layout. These are the larger lots are in orange. There's the stormwater is an amenity. There's recreation equipment. There's connection to the trail. So it's changing from 126 to 134 foot wide lots. A new builder, the home builder is here, can answer questions. Upgraded models with trying not to keep the garage door as the emphasis on the block as you're going down the road. So there's these home elevations are a part of the public hearing, so when they submit their home permits for the building permit, we check back and make sure that they are keeping the same top models. With that, I'll answer any questions. It's just a addition of lots. The PUD allows up to 150 lots, so this is not an increase above what you have ever seen. They're still below the maximum allowed in the PUD.
All right, I'm going to open it up to the public for comments on this issue for Oak Trail Reserve. Anybody in the audience who wants to make comments, come to the podium and introduce yourself. Make sure you fill out a form. Fill out the form before you leave and give it to the city clerk.
Here.
Yes, sir.
I'm Richard Gonzalez with Pine Lock Management. When I heard about the donations that you made, we've had this, we own the property, and we've been collaborating and cooperating with Ocoee for many years to see that the right thing is done here and everywhere that we have our footprint. We also donated land for the trail. When the trail came through, we donated land and encouraged the county to shift the road, the road and the intersection there, the 4-lane intersection. We paid for the engineering to do so it could line up with the future Clark Road there. And up on our project up on McCormick, we donated and built the exit of Clark Road that goes on to McCormick. So I just wanted to not necessarily get credit for that, but let you know that we've been here supporting this and happy to see this project evolve to a nice, responsible development. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments?
Good evening. For the record, my name is Richard Wolfarth with the IBI Group and with the Ocoee Development. Richard obviously has introduced himself. Mark McDonald is here today with Ladar, Gary Singer, and we're again like to thank the staff for working with us to get us where we are tonight. I think Mike did a very good job presenting what we're looking for, and if we answer any questions, we'll be very happy to do that.
Thank you. Any more comments? If no more comments, we'll bring it back, and the city attorney is going to read the ordinance.
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, approving a substantial amendment to the land use plan for the Oak Trail Reserve PUD on certain real property containing approximately 38.62 acres located on the northeast corner of Clark Road and Clarkona Ocoee Road and Hobson Road, south of Trout Lake Road, pursuant to an application of the property owner, amending the Oak Trail Reserve PUD land use plan by adding additional lots to the PUD, increasing the number of 40-foot wide lots, decreasing the number of 50-foot wide lots, and increasing the open space acreage, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right. Now, commissioners, let's open to comments from commissioners. Anybody have any comments? Joel?
I got one question. Is that all two-car garages in those?
Yes, there are. Yes.
That it?
Yep, that was the only.
Anybody else? I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is it, I just wondered, is it,
It's Joel's, who's abstaining.
Yeah.
okay. No, I just wondered, I just realized it's district. I'll second that.
Joel, you made the motion, right?
John did.
John, that's right, you
Yeah, I
can.
have to-
John, Commissioner Grogan made the motion to approve the ordinance for Oak Trail Reserve, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries with Commissioner Keller not being able to vote on that. All right, we'll go to number 9. Second reading of ordinance for the park at 429 Plan Unit Development, PUD, East Crown Point PUD annexation and initial zoning to PUD LUP project AX 0416 58 RZ 160403. City Planner Rummer.
There's two ordinances, so we'll let
Yeah,
Scott go
I
ahead
know.
and read those up.
Okay, the first is the annexation ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 45.54 acres located on the north side of Palm Drive, on the west side of State Road 429, and on the east side of the East Crown Point Road pursuant to the application submitted by the property owners. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. That was the annexation ordinance. The rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 to Ocoee Planned Unit Development on certain real property containing approximately 45.54 acres located on the north side of Palm Drive, on the west side of State Road 429, and on the east side of East Crown Point Road pursuant to the application submitted by the property owners. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Okay. The project is located on the west side of the 429 and on the north side of Palm Drive and east of East Crown Point Road. With regards to the annexation of the subject property, a portion of the site is already within the City of Ocoee boundaries and has an industrial land use. That would be the portion I'm outlining with the cursor. And then we have this site of high density. The property across the road is also in the City of Ocoee. So it meets the adjacency for the annexation requirements. The property is being rezoned to plan unit development in order to develop 645,600 square foot of light industrial flex space. The property, as I said, is located in the 429. As you know, we currently have a moratorium for development permits and building permits with an exemption that a project that will meet the intent or the criteria of the 429 as that overlay, as that process goes along, we will accept their application and move forward. I'll come back to that later. The project, as I said, is on 45 acres, will consist of 5 buildings. I'm going to go to a better slide here which shows it. Totaling 645,600 square feet. You have a 270,000 square foot building, a 194,000 square foot building, and then 3 smaller buildings. Then you have a master stormwater pond, which this is fitting in. The master stormwater pond's to the north of this building. So the site is able to use, there's 3 parcels and they're utilizing master stormwater. The access to the site is via East Crown Road and Palm Drive. The site plan shows a driveway on the east side of Palm Drive adjacent to the 429, and a second driveway about 270 feet east of the intersection of East Crown Point and Palm Drive. The part of the PUD, the property will be giving dedication of right-of-way and constructing a left turn lane from westbound Palm Drive to southbound East Crown Point Road. There is an access point on East Crown, which will be a full access. The developer will construct a left turn lane and a right turn lane into the site at this access point. There's an additional 2 access points on East Crown with a access point to the north, which is reserved primarily for any of the truck movement. The plan shows a significant buffer along the front of 30 feet, which is increased from our minimum of 25 feet. And there's also an increased buffer along the rear. That is the criteria that is coming out of the 429 study, the 429 overlay. As well, there in the 429 overlay, we were discussing architectural aspects of the buildings. We're looking for the buildings that front the 429 to not look like the rear of a building as much, so they're going to have a requirement to put architectural features on the rear that match the front, and they are providing those. The project before you is an annexation and rezoning of PUD, but it's also a PUD land use plan. The PUD land use plan is typically done as a bubble. We've instructed them, require them to provide more definitive features of this plan unit development. The next step after this is the preliminary site plan and final site plan, which is a public hearing process. At that process, we will have the 429 overlay adopted, and you will really see the buildings. You will see the site plan showing all of the cross sections. So you will get another look at this project. The property proposes a buffering, the standard buffer of a wall and landscape buffer adjacent to this property, which is a rural apartment community. So it will meet the comprehensive plan and the land development code for the required buffering from those uses. They will be providing within that 10-foot of dedicated right-of-way space for the future trail connection that will go to our downtown. A traffic study was done, as we do with all of our PUDs and large-scale site plans, and it did not show an indication, a need for any type of improvement downstream, just operational, as the turn lanes you see. In discussing the project with the City of Winter Garden as part of our 429 overlay, we see a need to signalize the intersection of Palm Drive and East Crown Point Road. The city, both by city partnership, we will be looking at this intersection, but the signalization is not a requirement of this site plan. It is a requirement of, not a requirement, but it is an item in our by-city partnership for the 429. In your packet is a letter from the City of Winter Garden signed by the city manager, Mike Ballhofer, that they accept this project and approve of it. Again, just for the benefit of the audience, this is sort of a basic plan because it's a PUD plan, and it will come back with the real color and the landscaping at the next phase. The project is located in our 429 where we have put significant amount of studying. We've studied this area with the Northwest Sector study. We've studied this area under the Tri-City Angelou study. We've studied this in the Bi-Cities 429 study. And we've identified this area as a prime area to receive those targeted industries and to make the 429 a location of choice with the extension of the Wekiva Parkway to Seminole County. A development like this flex office space provides the building type and location of the jobs that all of those studies showed us we can get. This is a great project that's come before us. If you remember, a similar project on this property came early on in 2000 and stopped. And this is picked up by a new developer. And just real quick, show you the renderings. This is the front. That's the back. You can see the architectural features. But again, as we get to the final site plan and preliminary site plan, we will bring back the renderings in the building, and you will see this again. This is just for the benefit of the PUD. So the architecture looks the same all the way around. It just doesn't have a plain back. This developer has committed to continue going with the 429, any of the concepts we develop as we go along. They've been a part of the process so far and agreeable to it. That's why we're bringing this project forward and feel comfortable requesting that you approve this annexation and PUD tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Romer. I'm going to open the meeting to the public, but before I do, I'll give you a little information. What we're going to do here on our speaking reservation form, it says citizens' comments will be 3 minutes per speaker per meeting. So before I start, I have two speakers so far for the this issue. So you can come up. We'll set the timer. City clerk will set the timer, and then we'll start the timer when you start talking. So you have 3 minutes, and I'll start with Jennifer Walker. Give your name and address.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Walker. My address is 1832 Linslow, and that's in Winter Garden. I am just going to read a small statement regarding my concerns so I can make it quick and efficient. I followed the original plans of the PUD several years ago, and I have concerns for these plans now as well. I feel like I'm late to present my concerns, but I want to be clear that I have questions about the noise and the traffic. I wonder about the removal of the natural sound barrier of trees and the new noise from the trucks. I am also concerned about the addition of traffic and new traffic patterns to accommodate the additional trucks, including the lack of a turn lane for trucks on the north entrance of East Crown Point. I am asking that you take this into consideration when voting on this development, and I hope to have additional times to participate in commenting if the development goes forward and there are other phases to address. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Before we make any comments, we'll wait till we hear all of them, then we can make our comments.
And the applicant is here, the
I
developer
know,
as well.
okay. Next, I have Chris Martinez. Reset the clock.
Esteemed Commissioners, good evening. I provided a short, I would call it a common sense view of this area that's going to be developed for truck traffic.
Can we get your name and address, please?
Chris Martinez, Chapin Station HOA President, 1838 Lindsay Lee Street, Winter Garden. So in your packet, and we'll start with those pictures. I don't know who's got the packet, or you guys
I got
can
a
look
packet.
at them.
You need to explain where the pictures are at also at the same time.
Okay.
I said we have 3 minutes, so.
First one is a swept path, and what it does is it shows the radius of an average tractor trailer that it needs to turn. Currently, Palm Drive is 21 feet wide. The average semi-truck, 2 FDOT code, is 8'6". So if we do some simple math, that's 17 feet on a 21-foot wide roadway. That's a foot on each side when they're passing. It also shows, the next page also shows some more data for you guys to understand how wide these trucks actually have to swing to get out. And my packet is not in order, so I'm going to have to try to figure out, is this the first page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a school bus, which is not as wide as semi-truck, and a light class delivery vehicle. Same road. This is where that left turn is going, but there is no left turn for the semi-trucks, and that road stays the same width. Next picture, is that correct? School bus?
Yes.
School bus, 35 feet wide. Notice it takes the entire roadway to get out of that. Okay? That's half the length of a semi-truck trailer. Current development plans will anticipate between 200 to 300 semi-trucks in this parcel at any given time. The ADT that was projected for this particular area is going to quadruple from 597 to 2,300. Two roads that aren't designed for this kind of traffic. I'm all for the development. I'm a developer. So you can see the irony of me having to stand here against this when I've stood in front of so many other commission members for these types of development. What I ask you guys to do is use some common sense with just the 4 pictures I showed you. Make those roads safe for this kind of truck travel because it impacts Plant Street, it impacts Fuller's Cross, it impacts Fuller's Cross at Ocoee, and it impacts West Road. Because all those over-the-road truck drivers that don't know where they're going in the middle of the night are not going to want to pay tolls down to 429 to get to this development. They're going to want to come down East Crown Point, which is where all our kids ride the school bus.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, anybody else? The developer?
Good evening, Dave Schmidt Engineering, 12301 Lake Underhill Road, Orlando 32828. I'm here representing the developer, site partners. I'm here with Matt Sullivan and Wilson McDowell. We appreciate staff's efforts and diligent meetings we've had the last several months getting to an approvable site plan. And I know we still have a long way to go with our preliminary and final engineering plans. We appreciate your support for this, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have during your discussion. Thank you.
All right. One more.
Good evening. My name is Ali Rodasco, 1711 Sparkling Water Circle, Ocoee. This is the second time I've heard of this project, and I personally think, obviously, it's definitely working towards the 429. I have heard, and I was hoping I heard incorrectly, that the roads currently, which are 2 lanes, I believe, are sufficient and shouldn't be changing. I have to say that I do agree with Ms. Martinez. If anyone has dealt with any tractor trailers out in the road, we all know that they have to generally, on 2 lanes going the same direction, they have to veer to one side to get that radius. I believe projects should be built being proactive. If we do not widen those roads and give these tractor trailers more room for them to turn in, we're just pretty much setting ourselves up for more accidents out on that road. There's an apartment complex there that's kind of niched into it, where there are children, there are school buses that are going around. If we don't prepare these roads for this additional traffic, and it's not so much the quantity, it's what's going to be on them. These tractor trailers that have to turn in, they can't glide into these parking lots. I think that we're going to not only create a hazard for our citizens, workers, but also it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to do it later on, and I prefer let's do it right from the beginning instead of having to come back and fix things while running the risk of getting people hurt. I do think that we need to reconsider the road lights as far as traffic lights, crossroads, especially if there's children somewhere in that area, to go ahead and prepare for that merger of industrial with residential living and traffic in those streets. So I'd say let's please take reconsider taking another look at the streets, the width, how many lanes we've got out there, and start preparing these roads for this project, which can be very successful without having to risk any lives or any hazards. So, thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the audience? If not, we'll move it back to the podium here. Mike, is there any kind of work to be done on that intersection at Palm and Crown Point?
Well, as part of the 429 overlay that Winter Garden and Ocoee are working on with consultants, there is coming up with a streetscape for East Crown. Now, East Crown Point is under the maintenance of City of Winter Garden. As part of the work that's being done with this specific development, and now there are other industrial sites that access East Crown Point Road, but again, the turn lanes that the development will place, the additional right-of-way dedication on Palm Drive and East Crown Road, and then and this is, development's going to develop over phases. They'll build 2 buildings to start off with. They're not going to build all 5 buildings. But in that process, and as we finalize what, on the 429 overlay, how the East Crown area road is going to look, then we will be working with Winter Garden on getting the design and estimate for the signalization of Palm Drive.
Where the entrance will be on East Crown Point Road and Palm?
Yes, so there's 2 entrances on Palm, 3 on East Crown.
Okay.
Yes. With a designated truck entrance on this side.
All right.
And I mean, for the semis, but there'll be,
No comments unless you come to the podium, ma'am.
Mike?
Just a second. I'm not going to get into a long discussion over back and forth over this. I can tell you that for a fact. I know. All right, go ahead. It's our turn now up here.
I got 2 things, Mike. First of all of these, this study that was done and all these modifications being made on the road are being made with the intent of these trucks, correct?
Yeah, when we look at this, we look at all the land uses. So this property has had a light industrial land use since 2008. So it went through a large-scale comprehensive plan process under Orange County to change the land use to light industrial. So we look at all the land uses on Winter Garden side and Ocoee side and know what kind of trips we will have. Yes, that is being considered.
Okay, my other question is, are we allowed to, at some point in time, whether on Palm or further down on Fuller's, in certain areas, put up weight limits for vehicles? Are we allowed to do that? To keep the bigger?
No, so you're talking about if limiting, say, Palm Drive to a certain
Limiting
weight
tonnage
vehicle?
of, yeah, to limit the, so in essence, it would limit the size of the trucks that go through certain areas?
I'm sure we can. Maybe we could have the Public Works Director, answer that one in a little bit.
That's all I have.
All right. Commissioner Wilson?
I have nothing at this point.
Commissioner Fershner?
What is the buffer going to consist of along 429 on the rear of the
Yes.
development?
So it's a buffer that's consistent all along the 429 as part of the overlay. So it'll be 30 foot, and it's really a size, and it's a species of tree. So everything on Ocoee Winter Garden side has the same look.
It'll be
To
all
create that-
natural, though, the buffer?
No,
Trees?
it'll be, yes, in that sense, it'll be
Yeah.
tree, yes,
Okay.
trees, yes.
All right. Commissioner Keller?
Yeah, I guess it's on East Crown Point, where you have the, coming in from both sides. Is there looking at having a traffic light there, or is that, at this point, we only really need one at Palm and?
Yeah, just one here at Palm.
Okay, so they're not looking at one further down?
No.
And then I guess the only other thing is, to the question that they had asked before, are our turn lanes long enough for tractor trailers, or are we looking at car turn lanes?
Oh, yeah. No, they run the synchro with the different vehicles, yes.
Okay, so it's got to be a long enough turn lane that we're not going to run into an issue with that?
Yes.
No other comment?
Commissioner Wilson?
The only turn lane for trucks is at East Crown Point, correct? Are you saying the 2 on Palm Drive are not for tractor trailers?
All the entrances are open. For all, but yes, this will kind of be the signed dedicated truck traffic, yes.
Because we would expect trucks to go down to the 429 by way of East Crown Point Road, and not, anticipation is not so much using Palm Drive as the line of direction we would expect to be.
Yeah, the traffic study, and they provided a traffic study by a licensed professional, and then we review it with our own consultant. So it's, the traffic study disperses the traffic different in all the different access ways. But a majority of it does come down, it assumes that they're gonna come right here to get on the on-ramp of the 429.
You through?
Yes, I am, thank you.
All right, I want to see something on the road issue. Maybe we can do some discussions on Palm. But I will tell you, ma'am, you brought up buffer. There's no buffer on Winter Garden side. They didn't leave anything there when they built over across the street. I went over there tonight before I come to our meeting. I go there a lot anyway, but I rode through that area. There's a lot of semis running around over there on that side of the street that comes out onto that street, East Crown Point, and goes down and turns onto the road that goes to the 429. And parked all over. They were parked, matter of fact, they were parked down in the lanes on the road, not in the parking lot, but on the road. ADS, the Wallach Recycling, and the Duke Power Company. So there's a lot of trucks that come out of there in Winter Garden, but the buffer area, there's no buffer at all. They did no landscaping down that East Crown Point Road. And even when they built the church, redid the church, they took out some trees on the corner where the old house used to be and took those away. So we want to make it a safe issue, but we went together with Winter Garden on the 429 study. Winter Garden approved this also. So it's approved by Winter Garden also. So we want to make sure of the safety part on Palm. I can see little problems on Palm that we can discuss with the developer and work that problem out. But the rest of it, I don't have a problem with. But like I said, East Crown Point Road is a busy place, and if it's going to be a red light there, Winter Garden's got to participate because they got way more stuff built over here than we do. So I know you live over there in Winter Garden, but and I read some stuff today, of course, like typical rant and raves and next door neighbor or whatever that thing is, which I don't like to take a lot of credence on them anyway, making the comments about all we want to do is take revenue. No, that's not all we want to do. We're trying to build projects here and get jobs and businesses where we can get our tax base to where it's supposed to be. So we're no different than Winter Garden. All right. I'm going to let you come back up again. But 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Chris Martinez again, 1838 Chapin Station. I just want to confirm some of these things. City Winter Garden, I saw the letter. It's in your packet from Mike Wallhofer. He requested that the signalization be complete before certificate of occupancy is provided on any building, correct?
I don't know, but he has to pay half.
Understood. But in his letter in approving this project moving forward, there were some stipulations. So it's great that we can say all of this and walk around, but let's talk facts. Here's the other facts. Go back and look at the traffic exhibit. Every one of those turn lanes is not designated where a truck is going to actually access the property. So East Crown Point, where Palm, and you put a signal there, that's great. But 400, 600 feet up the road, across the entrance for the West Orlando Baptist Church, there's a dedicated truck access point. The road doesn't get wider there, it gets narrower. And it's 45 through there. And if anybody up here seems to think that common sense would dictate that trucks are not going to come out of that property and turn right and go north up East Crown Point to Fuller's Cross, Ocoee, Apopka, you guys aren't being realistic. Okay, it's great. I appreciate you driving out there. I'm not a Ocoee taxpayer, but you know what? My kids go to your schools. I buy gas in your towns. I buy groceries in your towns. And now you're going to put a West Orange Trail extension right across the front of this thing where there's no turn lane for a truck on a road that's 21 feet wide? It blows my mind that that is realistic thinking today. Nobody in their mind would say, yeah, that works.
All right, that's enough. Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Be accurate if you're going to talk.
I'll just say two things. You can ask the developer who develops millions of square foot. And this is a very technical conversation we're having on a item that's not technical. The real technical discussion will come at the preliminary site plan where you will see the cross sections of the intersections. So this is not a technical review at this point. This is just a glorified bubble plan showing access, showing improvements. It's the cross sections, the turn radiuses, all of that will be provided at the preliminary site plan.
Ma'am, do you want to come back up?
Jennifer Walker, do I need to state my address again?
Can't hear you.
Go ahead.
Jennifer Walker, 1832 Linslow. We spoke before the meeting because I had some questions on the traffic study, which wasn't part of the packet. So I just would like just one more thing clarified, if that's okay. If we could bring the map back up of where the turns are. I guess the, and talking technical, this is technical enough for me. I just have a question about the north end where the access is for the truck. And just wondering why there isn't a turn lane for a truck access instead of where the turn lanes are for just a regular access. And I just wanted to make sure I'm reading that correctly, that there's not a turn lane for the trucks to go in that access on East Crown.
As you can see, this property has with it not only the intersection of Crown Point and Palm Drive, but it has multiple access points. The vision of the 429 overlay is to create a continual, nice landscape buffer on both sides. When you have multiple access points and you have decel lanes, that eats into the right-of-way. They are dedicating 10 foot of right-of-way, and they are providing these larger buffers. So yes, at this point, the goal is to try to create a nice, non-industrial look to East Crown Point Road. Some of the uses will be an industrial use. Hopefully, many will be office, flex office space that will not have a trucking aspect. So that's the vision. That's where we start off on the PUD, and we're saying it's meeting the intent of the overlay. When we have the specific 429 guidelines, and we're at the preliminary site plan, and if they combine it with the final, those are public hearing process, that's where we will see the actual survey, the elevations, and show how it all works. So.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right, if there's no more comments, fill out a form and come up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fill it out afterwards. Yes, sir.
My name is David Whitney. I live on Wingdown Place in Trails of Winter Garden, right next to West Orlando Baptist. My only concern, I mean, if this is, I don't want this here. I think that's kind of obvious for anyone who lives here. But if it's got to be there, when I come out and I come to work, I picked this location because of ease of access to the highways. So if I come out and come down south on East Crown Point up to that intersection at Plant Street and Franklin Street, I already have trouble I had to wait 2 to 3 lights just to turn left in the mornings to get to work because we only have, 100 feet between that intersection and the 429 entrance. So it's already backed up from semi-trucks and many cars coming down Plant Street from Winter Garden side. And that backs up to where it almost comes into the intersection. A lot of times there's cars that just stop in the intersection, so we can't turn. If you add this many cars in there, how are we ever going to get out of this area? You know, if we had 4 times what's already there, how am I ever going to get out to go to work? I mean, I have to take an hour off to go around different directions. I mean, that's what I'm concerned about, is how there's no room there for all these trucks to take a left and they'll be stuck in the intersection and blocking that, that intersection at Plant Street and East Crown Point. I don't know what the right way to do this is, but I feel like there's no room for all that traffic to try to make that left-hand turn, because right now I'm already having trouble with it as it is. That's my concern.
First off, the development of this parcel in the buildings you see and the amount of light industrial flex office space, okay, is just a fraction of the floor area ratio, which could go on this in of any type of use that falls under the light industrial and C3. The capacity of East Crown Point Road is the daily trips is 12,580, of which that road is currently at 5,500 trips. So there's room for more trips on the road. So it'd be tough to tell an applicant on a parcel that has a land use that has the ability to develop to say, well, there's capacity on the road, it's operating at an acceptable service, but we don't want your development. What we're saying is we are designing this area with another city in mind. It went through a process where they had to show under the large-scale amendment, Orange County had to prove to Winter Garden and Ocoee in the state of Florida that by going 45 acres of light industrial under the county's maximum FAR, which is more than the .037 that is being built at, that the road network could handle it.
Anybody else on the podium have any more comments? You through, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right. You need more comments? All right. I need a motion for the
Annexation.
The annexation first.
I'll make a motion to approve the annexation ordinance for the park at 429 PUD.
Motion made by Commissioner Forstner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Keller. Any more comments? No more comments? Let's vote on the annexation. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we're going to get, I need a motion for the rezoning ordinance. Motion.
Motion to approve?
All right, motion by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forstner. No more comments? Let's vote. All right. Regular agenda, item number 10, Community Grant Program. Joy Wright, Community Relations Manager.
Good evening, Joy Wright, Community Relations Manager. I'm here tonight to present to you the community grant recommendations. The Community Grant Review Board met, and they're recommending the City Commission approve funding for 8 organizations in the amount of $4,000.
Can you, I guess we can pull it up here, but can you tell me the names of the ones in this?
Yes.
All right.
We have the Adult Literacy League, the Gift of Swimming.
I want to know their addresses also.
Oh, their addresses also?
Yes, ma'am.
Adult, let's see. The Adult Literacy League Incorporated, 345 West Michigan Street, number 100, Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, how much money did you give them?
They are recommended to receive $500.
In Orlando?
I'm sorry?
Orlando address.
Yes, yes.
All right.
And
Next.
the Gift of Swimming,
Address.
205 Windermere Road, Winter Garden. And they're also recommended to receive $500.
Next.
Okay. Ocoee High School Science Olympiad. The address is 1925 Ocoee Crown Point Parkway, Ocoee, Florida, and they're recommended to also receive $500.
All right.
Police Athletic League of Orlando, Apopka. Their address is P.O. Box 617380, Orlando, Florida, and they're also recommended to receive $500. Rotary Club of Ocoee, P.O. Box 931, Ocoee, Florida. Smart Homes for Vets.
Who?
Smart Homes for Vets Incorporated. Address is 449 West Silver Star Road, Suite 493, Ocoee.
I could not understand what it was. What business is that? Did you hear?
It's a,
Veterans?
That's, it was, I'm sorry, I'll interrupt here. If you read, when you go down to their, situation
I
where they.
didn't bring my glasses.
Okay, when you get down to their application, I believe it was something to do, I did read it, it was regarding veterans' homes, correct?
Yes.
Have a smart.
they provide smart software for veterans, and they're proposing to provide a telepresence robot.
All right, next.
Stars of West Orange, 9401 West Colonial Drive, Ocoee. Women's Club of Ocoee, 4 North Lakewood Avenue, Ocoee, and they're both recommended to receive $500.
All right. Anybody else have comments?
When I read them, I'll just say something, when I read them all, the ones that you did approve were asked how many folks they would assist within the Ocoee city limits,
Yes.
and they all had a number?
Yes,
based on their- all
they
have-
did.
when I read
They all
that-
signed, also on the application, the Community Grant Review Board, and we do have Chairman Jim Sills here as well. They're all asked, and they're also asked to sign here on the application that any grant money that they do receive from the city will in fact be used to benefit residents of Ocoee. So they do sign that when they submit the application.
What is the, how many from Ocoee that was in Ocoee that didn't get them, where you got 3 that from Orlando? Or
There was only one organization that is recommended to not receive a grant, and they are actually located,
They're St. Vincent de Paul. and
yes, St.
Resurrection
Vincent de
Catholic.
Right, they were
Paul,
using it
and
to
they're
pay bills.
located in Winter Garden.
that's not Ocoee. I said how many from Ocoee?
Were not recommended to receive a
Yeah.
grant? This is the only organization
The
that
only
was
one
not.
that I saw that was rejected was St. Vincent de
Saint-
Paul.
Correct.
They're not in Ocoee, she said.
Right.
They're in
But that's
Winter
the one that
Garden.
wasn't that was, out of all the applications, that was the only one.
Yeah,
that
there were
was
9
rejected.
applications submitted, and one is recommended to not receive a grant, and that's St. Paul de Vincent Church.
I know we did receive, I'm assuming everyone received a letter from St. Vincent de Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, that was, I was gonna say, just to acknowledge, but I don't know if anyone's here from,
Yeah, I personally still, I don't like giving the money to the ones that are Orlando or Winter Garden, because I know Winter Garden will not give it to anybody. So then Orlando, both 2 of them are Orlando. So that's my own opinion, and I still believe in this grant program, in the budget process, I would vote to do away with that. And the only one that I would do is the one to the homeowner associations that are in the city. But that, like I said, that's my comments. I still don't believe, and we've talked about this before, and that's another reason why, right there.
I agree. We talked about it before. We talk about it every single time that we come through this, every 6 months. I'm all for anybody with a Winter Garden address myself, a Ocoee address myself. Winter Garden, I know we do things back and forth, but I would agree with that. The only other question that I have is, out of the $2,000 left over, where does that go? Does that go back into the general fund, Rob?
when you start reading these applications, can I say something at this point? When you start reading the applications, Ocoee does not have a literacy program, so they come in from Orlando to do the literacy program for the residents of Ocoee. I mean, we have to remember some of that. I know that some aren't in favor of this program, but I'm not in favor of us having folks come up during a meeting and ask for money. So that is my personal opinion, that I think that becomes a very unfair situation, that when someone comes up and asks for thousands for this or money for that, I don't see other cities doing it. I don't see Windermere giving residents money for doing, or even non-residents for doing things within their city.
Windermere don't need it.
Well, I don't see that people go, as you said tonight, you asked
No,
that
no.
group.
I'm not trying to get
No.
into an argument with
No,
Commissioner
I'm
Wilson.
not arguing,
I'm
please,
just
I'm not.
bringing the point up. I don't like giving it to places that are not, anybody can say what they want to say on that paper. They can sign that paper and nobody's ever going to say it again. I'm just saying,
agreeable.
we make it out, and I still don't have a problem giving money to organizations that are in town that deal with us. But, and the library deals with the literacy. And so it's just a comment that was made. I'm not trying to get into a discussion over arguments about it.
Well, I'm not argumentative,
But I'm just
concede
telling
that.
you, I have no problem doing the one that we do to homeowner associations that put in for the grants, to give it money back to them. This is one I got a problem with, so.
Which one? Jim Sills. I'm at 205 South Lakeshore Drive, Ocoee. I am the current chairman of the Community Grant Program. In all due respect, St. Vincent de Paul, they wanted the money to pay a power bill. Granted, I mean,
Yeah, but Jim, the power bill was for somebody that didn't have money to pay it.
that's true, very true.
So,
I
this is,
understand
it all
that.
runs on the same, thing, because this is going to somebody that can't afford swimming lessons, not a power that runs their power in some older folks' home or something. I mean,
These,
who do you
we-
say, you're gonna take somebody swimming, but you ain't gonna pay the power bill?
Right. We sit and discuss these, the board does, and we try to, I mean, it's not an easy
No, I
situation to do it.
I understand that, and that's why we go over this every year.
Right.
I still think if we just did away with this, and then we'll address them, if they do come up here, we'll address them. If we don't want to vote for them, we don't vote for them. But we do, the grants to the homeowner associations is more of a thing that goes to the taxpayers to do stuff on their homeowner associations, so. But that's just, like I said,
And the smart
Yeah.
home for vets, I don't know if you understand
Huh?
that. The smart homes for vets, this is the future. I thought he was going to be here tonight to.
well, where's
present it.
449 South,
Silver Star Road.
yeah,
It's east Silver Star, 449 East Silver Star Road. Yeah. But he's going to go around for vets that can't, this will remind them medication, doctor's
Right.
appointments, and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, he was going to, if the commission awards this
but
grant.
he's in Ocoee.
Yes, he's in Ocoee,
See, I
yes.
don't have a problem
Okay,
with that.
all right. And this is Founder's Day, Spring Fling, this,
Yeah.
we thought it was a worthwhile.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that one. I've said,
Because it'll serve more, this board was designed for the most bang to help the most citizens of Ocoee. And, paying a power bill or water bill, like granted, they didn't have the money, I'll agree with that. But that would help one or maybe two as versus maybe 200 or 2,000, so. Okay.
all right. Anybody else? You get,
I'll make a motion to award the grants as recommended to us by the board.
second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan, seconded by Commissioner Keller. Let's vote. Like I said, I voiced my opinion. I don't like it, but I'll vote for it. But the group of citizens did it, but I still don't think it's out of town. It's not the way to go. Maybe we can discuss that tomorrow night.
Yeah, so we can discuss this tomorrow night.
All right, okay. Staff action items, anybody?
Nothing further.
All right, comments from commissioners. Commissioner Keller.
Yeah, I guess Chief just, get you out here just for a minute there. I said a couple things to you today, and one of them is our world-famous Rich Drive again.
You mean
And-
this chief, right? Not the
I'm
other?
sorry, Chief, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But one of them is their world-famous Rich Drive again there. I don't think, well, first of all, for the rest of the people, we got an email again today about the traffic that's parking in front of everybody's house on
Well, yeah, I
Rich
think you
Drive.
must have, because I didn't get one.
Well, yeah.
I don't think I did.
And, yeah, and so what I did is I passed it on to the police, and there really is nothing that we can do on an ongoing basis. The only thing that I can think of, and maybe we might have to go back and have staff look at this, is possibly the last piece of Rich Drive there, turning that into a no parking area. The problem is if you do that, then the residents cannot park in front of their houses either. But short of that, quite frankly, opening the gate there is not going to solve the problem. You're still going to have people that are going to stop there to pick up their kids because they live right in that subdivision. They want the kids to come across the street. I think really, and I don't know, is that something that we can do, or is that something that we need an ordinance for? Or?
For the no parking?
Yeah.
We could probably do the no parking, but I wouldn't recommend that till we do a little bit more research into
Yeah.
the
That's why I said
entire
bring
issue.
it back to the staff there to see if you guys
Yep.
and staff can come up with something good that way.
I think I stood here 3 years ago and said it wasn't, you would have other problems if you didn't open the road, and
Yep.
these are the other problems,
But-
and
yeah.
it's going to continue, and
Yeah, and that's the only way, and all that's going to do, quite frankly, is if we do that, is back up the issue to the road
Exactly.
before it.
It'll move the issue,
So,
yeah.
so I'm not sure that, again, I tend to agree that may not be the best solution, but that seems to be one that may work. So possibly looking at that. The other thing, and I think this one I sent along as well, is, which always amazed me, I go on a Nextdoor and I found out that I guess SeaWorld was in the neighborhood picking up an injured stork that some car had hit. The concern that the parents had was that Timber Ridge Trail still has an extremely large problem with speeding, even though we have the humps. Some of them think we should have at least one more hump closer. A couple of people would like to see a stop sign right past the school as you come into Sawmill. Again, I don't know how much that's going to be, but probably, at least for a short period of time, can we get some more traffic presence up there, maybe some more tickets or something, if we do catch the speeders? I know that once you put an officer in a car up there, everybody seems to slow down. Works
Right.
like magic that way, but...
we'll go up there and look at the issue, and the stop sign, and we're not going to cure a speeding problem with a stop sign, but we will look at it because it may be a pedestrian issue.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's a school zone right there, but it's close enough to the school that the children are crossing.
Yeah, there is a crosswalk there, but...
A regular crosswalk, right?
And really, I don't know that it's, and I don't want to call this out as an Ocoee problem, because I see this as a Florida problem, quite frankly, is that Florida as a whole, and I may be wrong in this, but just looking at the way the results are, Florida as a whole just really doesn't seem to go after crosswalk violations the way other places do. I mean, I remember being up in Toronto and hit the crosswalk, and literally the car slammed on the brakes to make sure they stopped so that I could cross the road. I mean, because up there, if you run if there's a person near the crosswalk and you don't stop, it's a hefty fine. And down here, I know as a county, it seems just before school we do that, where we have the police officer in there and they give out some warnings and they give out some tickets. But and again, not saying this on the city, but basically the county as a whole,
Yeah.
and pretty much the state as a whole, we really don't push that.
Maybe that's why the state leads in
Why the state leads in pedestrian deaths. And so that would be the other thing. Maybe if we can take more of a lead on, hey, if you're in Ocoee and there's a crosswalk, you need to stop because there's kids there.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got the email as well with the crane and the...
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? When Rich Drive, on all the issue we were having before with Rich Drive, didn't the residents of Oak Forest, right?
Forest Oak.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Forest Oaks, yeah.
Forest Oaks, thank you, I'm sorry, I'm hearing, didn't the residents vote? Didn't they answer a response we had or something?
Oh, yeah, they definitely want the gate closed, and they
Okay.
still don't want to open the gate.
They came in here, I believe, y'all voted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they actually,
Yeah, they actually did.
I think there was a
they-
survey
Yeah,
done
they did a
months ago.
survey, and it was overwhelming to put the gate and
Yeah.
keep the gate closed.
Okay. Just wanna make
And
sure.
even the people on Rich Drive at that piece want the gate still closed. It's just, it was
Okay,
told
but
at the
sure
time
you
that was
told them
going to
that
be
this
the
parking
side
was
effect.
Okay. No, I just,
There is no, the only way to beat the side effect is basically to push it backwards by putting up no parking for that particular piece of Rich Drive.
Sprinklers.
And all you gotta do is move the issue further back.
I hate to live there and you tell me that I can't,
Yeah.
park.
Commissioner Close? No, I don't have anything. Commissioner Wilson?
Yes, I do. Of late, we've been noticing something. If on the north side of the women's club, we have very poor entrances into what we use as a parking lot for the Lakeshore Center. And I would like to ask the commission to, ask Mr. Krug, if he's still here, go ahead and we should put some form of an apron there, because it's very hard to distinguish where to enter on both sides, from the Oakland side and from the Lakewood side. Where we're using for parking, it's a city property, but the aprons, I mean, it's very hard to distinguish, and if at night, it's hard to distinguish where to exit. And I'd like to ask that we would put a more defined entrance apron, something of there. Is that something you could handle?
Yes, we're looking at that, thinking more of a, actually, we could do it in concrete with operational costs as opposed to like a milling thing, because I understand some of the concern is people picking up rocks and throwing them, things like that, to where we could set it out and make it look
So
great.
I'd like to ask the commission to go ahead and make this somewhat of a priority issue, to put that apron there on both. We really need two of them eventually. I think one coming in from Oakland, so that, again, if we're going to use the Lakeshore Center and we need parking, we have to make it as accommodating as we can for those who are coming in for an event. So I'm asking the commission to ask Mr. Krug to do this more of on a priority basis so that we can use our facility more effectively.
Don't have a problem, we could do it, make sure it happens before Founder's Day, so it doesn't interfere with anything there.
So should we ask, do we need a motion? Do we have to do
I'm
just by
good.
consensus?
I think that's good right there.
Yeah, I think a consensus would be fine. I'm just not sure, Steve, with the way the end of the year is coming up, if we can actually charge it to this budget year. It might be something we have to use next year's funds for.
Well, we're already close to,
Right.
I mean, we're, what, 2 weeks, a week and a half from October 1st, so.
Right.
I'm proposing that we do it with our team, self-perform this work. We're more than capable, and it'd save a lot of money.
You've done the one on Oakland, have
We.
No, not the one on Oakland. I was-
The one on McKee.
One on
We did
McKee.
one on McKee.
Right.
And we'll just do another one on Oakland to line up with it.
The one on Oakland that I think you're talking about is the one that goes into the upper parking lot. And again, it makes it much easier going in there. So, I won't say any more, I just think we need to be more defined and more hospitable to our guests.
I think consensus is okay for it.
Yeah.
All right. Don't go
We'll
anywhere.
make it happen.
Don't go nowhere. All right. You through?
I'm done, thank you.
All right. On Lakeshore Drive, we talked about it, well, a couple years ago and a few other times. Going from the fishing dock or from our Oakland back towards Lafayette, I'd like to see us put 3 benches there on bricks, put the bricks beside the sidewalk and put 3 benches. We had talked about it before. The homeowners around that area walk their dogs and some of the people called and asked about putting benches. So I think if we could put 3 benches, and we had $2,000 left in the fund a while ago. That even helped the driveway. But I'd like to see us put 3 benches there and put the pavers down and put the benches on the pavers right by the light poles or something where people can sit there on the lake shore. You know, we wouldn't have to put in a sidewalk or anything like that, just the pavers where you put the benches. So can we have do the consensus on that?
Yeah, with a consensus, you sure you want pavers as opposed to a?
Well, you could pour concrete, yeah,
All right.
Where
I
do you
think
think
we-
that-
And I'd say the same thing. I mean, that's
on Lake Shore
something.
by the lake.
No, I know, I mean, there's a large stretch there, because some of that is deeded, isn't it, to folks who live
No,
across the street?
no,
Any of that
that's
deeded?
all city property.
Yeah, I'm
all
pretty sure
city
it's all
all the way
city
down?
property.
It's all city property.
Okay, I thought some was deeded.
Huh?
I thought some of that was deeded.
It might be deeded past Lafayette,
Okay,
not from there back up. That's city property. So consensus is that
And
Before I
I'd
give
say
up
the
money-
same thing, it's possible, because if we had to order benches and have those delivered, we can't charge out of this year's budget, so it may come
No,
back.
October
We may have
or
to
is
come
it
back.
not
We do have
sure.
that $2,000, we may still have to come back for it out of contingency
Yeah,
or something,
lock-
but I don't anticipate it'll cost that
Yeah.
much.
Generally, the benches we're putting out there, they're running about $900
That's true, because we're putting
a
nice
piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure where you're talking about getting the money from. I would think if the commission approves the money.
Yeah, let's
then
not
it
worry
would
about
be
that at
able
this
to be a
point. Let's
capital
come
cost
up
and
with
be
the
carried
typical
forward.
bench we're using and identify the locations with Parks and Rec, and we'll take it
I
from there.
think 3 of them would be what fit in that, maybe
Oh.
2.
would that go into our night's budget?
It
We
could.
didn't put that driveway in
There's a
there.
couple of discretionary accounts in Parks and Rec
I
and
think we
Public
could take
Works.
that
so.
$2,000 and use it to do those things, like the pavement.
But I think he's talking New Year's.
Yeah, it's too
New
late.
Year's,
From this is 2,000 from this budget.
well, that's what,
If you
2
were to,
weeks.
If
if
we ordered the benches, they won't be
If
in
the
before
commission were
October
to
1st.
designate it as a capital project tonight with that money, then that money could be carried forward.
For both projects?
well, let's see if you can find
Well,
that.
I'm just worried about the benches.
Wait,
I'm not worried about the concrete.
Here's the
That's-
point, consensus is we can do both of those things, so.
Yeah, and I'm just
Work it
saying,
out,
it's
see if
it's
you work it
possible
out.
we can't start until after October 1st.
That is a bad driveway on that, Lakewood coming into that,
Oh, it's terrible.
parking lot. So,
It's hard to see.
and there is people, we have a lot of people to use that lakefront, and that's one of our, you can ride down there, walk down with your grandchildren and stuff. Okay, all right, so that's good to go. And one of the things I was gonna bring up, and I can do it when we talk about the donated money and stuff. I know the Elks Lodge gets $1,000 from us every year, but they put more time in for their money, and they also donate back. I know they just donated $1,000 for something in the city not too long ago to one of our departments, and they donate their time for the Orange Handicap Games.
You say the Elks?
Elks
Sorry, I got
Lodge.
trouble.
Yeah, Elks, I'm sorry, Elks. But they do donate a lot of time and effort, because they go out and work those Orange Handicap Games for us. All right, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, budget process, anybody,
You
you
missed
know?
John there, Dave. I don't know, did you have anything to say?
I forgot you?
Yeah.
You sure? I don't know how. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I knew that anyway. All right, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, budget meeting. Thank you.
I gave my time to you.